gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of Live at the Commons. Tonight we are joined by not one, but two brilliant sets tonight. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce, straight from number 10 himself, Mr. Boris Johnson! Mr. Johnson, are you there?
Sorry about the delay there, folks. I just had to make sure that I shook hands with absolutely everybody. Welcome to my first stand-up comedy gig. Although I must say, this isn't actually my first comedy gig in general. You might know I played a comic character in the past, a certain one called the Mayor of London. Isn't that right, Mr. Speaker? Oh, sorry, wrong office. Next joke, please, Dr. Whitty. Oh, wrong office. Again. You know, there are quite a few differences between this job and my last one. The most notable being that I have to appeal to everybody, not just the racists. What a topsy-turvy world we live in, folks. I say another one is if you look to the side, you can see a series of refreshments, and the most notable of which being a delicious set of Tim Tams, which I think we can all agree are the symbol of the pride and success of Brexit. Speaking of Brexit, whoa, simmer down there, folks. How the hell are all these bloody boats still coming in? It's not like they're in their countries or something. Oh wait, we are. They're all coming up on the shores of Kent. Kent, more like can't, because they can't bloody keep them out. Bring on the Farage barrage, I say. No, but I do actually have a lot of respect for the immigrants that come into this country. Just as much as Dominic Raab respects food banks, or Priti Patel respects co-workers, or that Matt Hancock respects himself. But people say that I'm quite unfair to these people, and I don't think it's like we're arranging them by some kind of point system that determines their value to be in this country on some sort of classist method. That would be silly. Oh, then it is what we did with the A-levels. I do apologise. You know, I tend to find I get things screwed up sometimes, and that was an example of that. I screwed up something the other day. I was going to post a letter into what I thought was a letterbox, but it turned out to be a woman in a burqa. Whoopsie daisy. So I did what any natural person would do in that situation, and I called the police. Because I thought she was a bank robber. What was I supposed to think? Not the only things I get screwed up though. No, I also get Boris bikes and women screwed up. They're very similar. I ride them, I leave them when and wherever I want, and I don't have to worry about them ever again. The benefit of the Boris bikes, though, is I don't have to worry about any illegitimate children. Speaking of leaving things behind, though, folks, I'm going to have to dart, because I've just remembered I'm the leader of the country. Ta-ta!
Ladies and gentlemen, give another hand to Mr. Boris Johnson! On to our next act, folks. He's come a long way to perform just for you. He's already here. He's already keen. He's ready. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to Mr. Donald Trump.
Oh shit. This was tonight? Well, lucky I'm always ready for showbiz, bitches. So, guess who's back in the house, bitches? And if you say Biden, I'll throw you over that goddamn wall that he's already tearing down. Has anyone seen my wife? Foreign lady, but not one of the bad ones, 'cause you know, She's white. Speaking of foreigners, always a great way to start a sentence, that one. I once said that we should take out their families on a lovely day trip to Trump Tower. See, I still got the showbiz, and I really need the money desperately. You might notice when I've had a little bit cut off the top recently. You know how much it costs to keep an eagle glued to your forehead? A lot more than it cost me to steal 2016. I mean, fairly acquire from the Russians. Speaking of elections being stolen, stop the count! Which is my favorite thing to say during an episode of Sesame Street. Because that count, I believe, he is foreign. A foreign entity. A vampire. Get rid of him, he's dangerous. You can thank me later, world. You know, I've made quite a few enemies this year, and for once, I'm not talking about Rosie O'Donnell. Mike Pence, that little bitch. God, if I found that man, I'd grab him, and not just because he's a pussy. You know, they say don't grab what you can't afford, which is why I've not been grabbing or touching my taxes at all this year. You know, you've all been waiting for me to talk about it, and I know you're excited for it. What the hell's going on in China? China with a capital G. They brought about this Chinese virus, this Wuhan virus, this Kung flu. Yeah, I know you all like that one. You know, I hear they're making that new DreamWorks Panda movie about it, something like that. I believe it's called Kung Flu Panda. Po faces his worst enemy yet, a common cold. He goes to Master Bat for advice, but it turns out the bat was behind it all along. And then they eat the bat for some reason. Very strange people indeed. You know, the WHO says that we should trust China, but I don't know who you can trust. I think we've handled this absolutely brilliantly if you look over the hundreds of thousands of deaths we've caused. And you know what? I'm just gonna do what I do every time because it works. Ignore the problem, and if it gets too bad, blame the minorities. You know what? That reminds me. We've had quite a few race issues this year. So much of an issue for me. It's been a lot of drama, very hard to keep up with it. But no, there's been a main race issue this year. A little group has stood up and showed us what it means to be a human being, what it means to stand up to people. And I think that's a little group you all know and love called BLM, which of course stands for Blue Lives Matter. Because once the looting starts, and if anyone tells you there is actually another bigger group called BLM, just know that they're lying and they're actually fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been an absolutely lovely crowd tonight, so I just want to leave you on one last little jape. I have threatened democracy, I've handled a pandemic horrifically, and I've almost been impeached twice. But you want to know what the funny bit is? I've been let off the hook, bitches! Thank you all very much. See you in 2024.